Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it is your first time here. My name is Jess and I am very excited about the theme of this vlog. So I don't want to say that I am obsessed with bees, but I do happen to have a lot of bee related things in my life, which I think may stem from the fact that my favourite childhood TV show or franchise or characters, or however you want to say it, is Winnie the Pooh. I do love Winnie the Pooh. Actually, my favourite character is Eeyore. He is the one which resonates the most with me, although I do have a soft spot for Winnie and his little gems of wisdom that he drops on us. Do not talk to me about Goodbye Christopher Robin because I will just begin to sob. Yeah, I love Winnie the Pooh, and you may have noticed actually incidentally in other vlogs that I've done that I tend to have quite a lot of Winnie the Pooh related things scattered around the house, so you might suggest that the natural adult progression of that is to then move on to bee related things. I don't know, maybe I'm just making excuses, but I do also love bee things. And so when the brand BeeKind reached out to me and asked to sponsor one of my videos and could I create some content around bee things, it was literally a no-brainer for me, and I am, as I said, very excited about the video. So if you're not familiar, BeeKind is a brand which was created specifically to help protect bee colonies in North America and around the world. They work with Pollinator Partnership and other non-profit organisations to donate a portion of every purchase made on their website, which I will leave in the description bar down below, in order to help protect bee colonies. And they are also a partner of Bee Friendly Farming, which looks at sustainable methods of bee farming as well, and all the things on their website are 100% eco-friendly, which is just very cool. So they are the inspiration and the sponsor for today's video. Thank you very much. They have sent me a couple of their products which we're going to look at later in the video. We're going to have some bee related fun. I'm going to try some sustainable honey recipes hopefully, and just various other fun things, not forgetting that I'm also going to read some bee related books. So let me grab them and I will show you what we're going to be reading throughout this video. As was demonstrated in my last vlog, I suck when it comes to synopsis, so I'm not going to even attempt to tell you what these books are about. Instead, we'll just discover them as I begin to read them. So the first one, for very obvious reasons, is The Bees by Laline Paul. I will tell you that I think that this is a dystopian, but that is the first one. The second one we have is Sue Monk Kidd, The Secret Life of Bees, again for obvious reasons. And then the final one is just bee inspired. We have The Wildflowers by Harriet Evans. So at a guess, I think this is contemporary, this is historical fiction, and this is dystopian. So they are also the three books that we're going to be reading throughout this video. As I say, I will talk about what each of them are about as I actually begin to read them and find out. Thank you again to BeeKind for sponsoring this video. Let's get going. I'm just preparing dinner, so whilst I've got a little bit of time, I thought I'd do a reading update because I have now started The Bees. I know that you're all fascinated by my culinary skills, so today we're having Coleman's sausage casserole out of a packet. I will actually fight anyone who tells me that this is not the best sausage casserole that exists. I've never managed to do it myself or recreate it. It's amazing. Highly recommend it. So I'm going to be chopping some carrots while I talk to you. So it must just be the season for me to read bizarre books, because first we had Build Your House Around My Body, which was just, as you know, completely wild ride. Then we had this One Sky Day, and now we have The Bees. So it's told from the perspective of a bee. We have Flora 717, who is in a hive, and she is a sanitation bee, and that is Pepper coming to see if she can have some carrot. And it's a really fascinating premise in that she's born in, so it starts with her emergence, and she's born into basically the lowest echelon of bee society, but she looks different from the other bees, and so she's taken into a different section, and all these different things have happened to her. And as I say, the concept of it is really, really interesting, and it feels like, I don't know a lot about the setup of hives or anything like that, but it feels like the authors put a lot of research into how hives are set up. Obviously, I realised that bees don't actually talk to one another, and they don't have little legs that they walk around the hive on or anything like that. But in terms of like the structure and the different setup and the different roles that bees take, that all feels really authentic, and like the author has put a lot of time into researching that. But my issue is, despite all of that, I'm only 99 pages in, and so much has happened at such a rapid pace, and I just feel like, what is there left to happen? So Flora 717 is picked by this sister bee, and she's taken to the nursery, and then she's taken to the queen, and then she's taken to forage, and then she's like done all these different roles in order, I think, for us as the reader to experience the different parts of the hive and what is going on. But it's all happening so quickly. I'm not getting time to absorb it, and I'm not getting time to sit with it as a reader, and I'm not getting time to learn what's actually going on before the next thing is happening, and it feels really rushed and really abrupt, and I'm not quite sure where the story is going to go or how the story is going to develop when already so much has happened and we're not even 100 pages in yet. I'm not really sure what's next in terms of the story and what's going to happen. I don't know. I'm not massively enjoying it. Oh, freebie bit of carrot there for whoever gets there first. It was Loki, surprise, surprise. Yeah, it's not that I'm not enjoying it, I just don't quite get it. Yeah, and it feels really, as I say, I think that's the major issue that I have, is that it feels like we're being rushed through this initial setup for whatever's going to come next. And I'm just not sure. There you go. Sausages, carrots and mushrooms with onions. I did fry the onions off, otherwise they don't go soft. I did start to brown the sausages, but then I got bored doing that, so stop doing that. Put the sauce in. Gonna get some more water, leave it on slow for slow cook on low. Are we on low? We're on low. 4 hours. Done. I'm listening to the audiobook of The Bees alongside reading the physical copy, and I've just got to a section where Flora 717, who is something of a rebel, it would seem, has been sent out on a scouting mission, and because she is the lowest class of bee, she's not actually allowed to collect nectar, but she's doing it anyway. We've got to this section of the narration that just sounds really sexually charged, and I can only think that it is deliberate. I don't think it's the way that the narrator is reading it. I don't think that it has to be. Like, the imagery is just, it's just too much, but it is like quite viscerally described, and therefore a little bit disturbing. Let me, because basically we're talking about bees, let me play you a section.
Each showed a faint ultraviolet line pointing to its well of sweetness, and those florets, stirred by her wing beats, murmured in pleasurable anticipation. Countless foragers worked the great golden field, and for the first time in her life, Flora lowered herself onto a willing flower head. The stalk held a number of little florets, some of them shy and not quite ready, so Flora climbed around to make her choice. Transparent filaments on the stem caressed her legs. The plant bobbed under her movements as if urging her on, and then she found her first bloom, just that instant perfectly ready. As Flora's tongue unrolled toward the bead of nectar, tiny particles of orange pollen tingled against her fur. The taste of the nectar was so bright.
I mean, come on. Is it just me? I don't think it's just me. Is it just dirty minds? Maybe. Maybe. So while I'm sitting here doing my little bee cross stitch and I have a moment, I may as well update you about the bees because I don't actually have that much left, and I'm going to listen to this and do some more stitching in a minute. So as I said earlier, it is incredibly fast paced. There's this constant forward momentum with the story. It feels like everything is very, very deliberate, and our main character, our main bee, Flora 717, has been in all these different positions and roles within the hive, so it's a very immersive experience in terms of learning about bees and their hierarchies and the structure of the hive and all of that through the eyes of Flora, who has been moved around all these different positions. There's also a real sense of tension and anticipation within the story itself, so I'm not going to spoil anything, but Flora basically is also engaging in an activity that she shouldn't be, and so there's this real sense that, is she going to get found out? What's going to happen? The hive itself and the whole setup and environment is really quite cutthroat. I don't know if, because we're talking about bees and not people, I don't know really if the same trigger warnings apply. Unfortunately, that is possibly my own ignorance, but there is quite a lot of graphic things that take place. We've just had a really violent scene between the bees and the drones, which was very viscerally described. There's things like sexual harassment, there's a lot of violence. It does have quite a dark edge to it, so I think if trigger warnings are something that you have to look out for, it's worth looking up a little bit more about this book before you go into it, because yeah, I don't know, it's bees not people, so I don't know how that would necessarily work, but it is quite a violent and dark book in and of itself and what is going on. And it does have this dystopian feel to it. They have this mantra, it says it on the back: accept, obey, serve, and regardless of what is happening, whether the, oh hello sunshine, whether the bees are okay with it, there's like this hive mind that like filters through to them all, where they just then go accept, obey, serve, no matter what is what they're being asked to do, if that makes sense. It's very bizarre but very interesting as well, and just really different, not like anything that I've really read before. And it's funny when you imagine that it's actually not people that you're reading about, but it is honeybees, and I don't think I'll ever look at bees in the same way again. So yeah, as I say, I'm going to listen to some now, do my little bumblebee cross stitch, and yeah, I'm sure I'll update you all in a little while. I'm just on my way into work, but I wanted to quickly talk to you as quickly as I ever do these things, about the wildflowers, because I'm now just over halfway through. It is taking me a really long time to read this book, and I think it's largely down to the writing style. It just feels so wordy and dense, and the sentences are really long, which is obviously a stylistic choice by the author, but I find it really difficult to follow the train of thought of our characters. I don't know, it feels very, very heavy to get through. And I mean, the topics that we're reading about are not massively light anyway, but just as a whole, it just feels like an incredibly dense book, and it is taking me, as I say, quite some time to get through. So we are primarily following this family, but we're following them across various timelines. So we have parents who are well-known actors and 2 children. We have a timeline in the 1940s where we're following the dad as he is a child in the Second World War. We're following 2 1980s timelines. So they have this summer house called the Bosky that they go to every year, and the parents have various people coming through. Adultery is a very strong theme throughout the entirety of this book. So they have all these friends who come to stay and they get up to all kinds of things. But then we have a slightly later 80s timeline when the 2 children are off at university, getting jobs, having partners. So we're following that, and we know from that late 80s timeline that something has happened earlier on that has kind of broken up the family unit. And then we also have a timeline set in 2014 where we're following primarily the daughter Cordelia, who went on to become a famous singer. She damaged her voice. She has been contacted by her nieces, and you just know that there's some kind of something that has gone on, but we don't really know what it is, that has caused everything to break down, and it's this big secret and everybody wants to kind of cover it up. And I do think that is also one of the reasons that I'm struggling with it, is that I just don't care about what the secret is, which is really bizarre because this is very character driven, which is normally something that I really, really like. But I'm just, for whatever reason, if it's the way that it's written, if it's the way that it's told, if it's the way that the characters are being conveyed to us, I just don't care about the characters, and I just don't care what this secret is. And I feel like it's being built up into this really big thing, and it's going to end up being really boring, because it's one of those things where where am I? 281 pages in, and it's been like, oh, there's this secret, oh, there's this secret, oh, but we could never tell what we know, oh, there's this secret, repetitively all the way through. And even at 280 pages, we don't know what it is yet, but it's kind of like being really heavy-handed in teasing us that there's this secret. So yeah, I don't know, I think it might be a combination of things: the writing style, the characters, the story itself maybe I'm not really connecting with. I don't know, you know, I don't DNF books, so I'll keep going with this latter section. I mean, I think if you like family dramas, if you like, gives me kind of Jojo Moyes vibes, but I think that her books are a bit easier to read. I don't know, I will come back, I will finish the book, and then I will come back and let you know my overall thoughts and feelings. I have just come home from work, hence the general look of dishevelment. Also, the light has blown in my study, so I'm having to use my lamplight from behind me because we don't have any light bulbs for reasons unknown. But anyway, I have just come home and found that my BeeKind package has been delivered, so I'm going to open this and show you what I got. I believe they are sending me a couple of different things, so I'm excited to see. Oh look, all the boxes are in like little sunflowers on the front. Very, very cute. So first up we have what looks like a thank you card. Yes, thank you card with a couple of stickers inside. Let's have a look. Yeah, some little bee stickers and things like that. Very, very cute. Just a little reminder, I know that I mentioned it at the start of the video, but a portion of all the purchases made at the BeeKind shop go as a contribution towards saving bees and protecting colonies and educating people around ethical honey and all that kind of thing. And I also have a 20% off voucher code, which I will leave in the description bar down below. So if you do go and have a look at the shop and anything takes your fancy, then please do use that discount code as well. So first up, let's have a look. Oh, pretty, pretty, pretty. I'm gonna take that out of there, I think. We have got this sunflower ring. You see the sunflower ring there? And I believe that that is adjustable. Kind of just squeeze it and then it will fit on a finger. So let's see, let's do it that way. Let's give it a little squeeze. There you go, on my thumb. Pretty, pretty. Next we have got a super, super cute, so cute that I'm gonna throw it on the floor. Let's try that again. Very, very cute bumblebee necklace. Absolutely love that. That is so sweet. Let's put you safely back in your box and not throw you on the floor. And then the final thing we have are some honeycomb earrings, which again, how cute are they? Can you see them? They're a bit more shiny than they look in this grim dark light. Boo-hoo to working longer days, right? So yeah, there you go. Very, very pleased with those things. This I think is my favourite. I can't wait to try this necklace on. Will not throw it on the floor again. So yeah, thank you very much once again to BeeKind for sending me those products, giving you all the information. All the links and everything are in the description box. Now I'm gonna go make some dinner and then do some more reading over my bee books. So safe to say, I did not enjoy this book. It has taken me an absolute age to get through it. I know I already mentioned that I found the writing style to be quite waffly and dense, and that doesn't change at all throughout the book. And there was also, towards the end, this huge glaring plot inconsistency. So the son in the family, Ben, at his wedding, he makes a comment that little did he know all four of the family would never be together again, and then literally in the next chapter they're all together again, and then again later on in the book. And then there's another thing where one of the big secrets, we find out what went on, but it's wrong in terms of the timeline of when these two characters are supposed to be together, and we're told that they go off to do something and then they come back, and then on another night one of the characters goes for a walk with someone else, and then suddenly these other two characters are together. So it happens twice. I don't know if that made sense, but basically these two characters do something together, but they weren't actually meant to be together because one of the characters was with somebody else, and just various things like that. It really bugs me when stuff like that happens, because I think, how did that not get picked up either by the author themselves or by the editing team? Are people not actually paying attention to what they're reading? Very bizarre. So yeah, not one for me. I think if you have read Harriet Evans before and you like this writing style, you know you get on with this writing style, and you like family dramas, you like secrets that span decades, you like different timelines and jumping here, there and everywhere, this would definitely be a book that you would enjoy. It just wasn't for me, unfortunately. So now, and actually before I move on, I can't remember if I said this already, but I do have a memory that I once read a Harriet Evans book and I didn't like it. I have never been able to find any record of the book, and I've read some of the plots of her more popular books and none of them ring a bell, but I do really feel like I had the same problem with the last book of hers that I read, which was the writing style. It applies here. Didn't love it. But yeah, anyway, now onwards and upwards and on to the final book. Today's fun bee-related activity, I'm going to make some honey shortbread biscuits in the shape of little beehives, which is very, very cute. I've got some sustainable honey. This is the Groovy Food Company Acacia Organic Honey. So it says a fine, mild honey Deliciously sweet and delicate in flavour, sustainably harvested from organic certified forests. So I'm going to do that. Whilst I'm doing that, I wanted to talk to you about the bees because I never really came back and gave my final thoughts on this. Right, I've just weighed out all my ingredients because I realised otherwise I was going to be distracted doing that rather than talking to you. So I'm now stirring the honey, the sugar and the butter together, so hopefully it won't be too loud and you'll be able to hear me talk about the books. So the bees, I don't really know what I can add beyond what I had already said about it. It's a very bizarre concept and it's a very atmospheric and tense read, but quite chaotic as well, and it's the type of book where I don't think that I could really explain to you what it needed. It felt like it needed something else, but I couldn't really tell you what that was. So we went through the hierarchy of the bees and we got to sort of experience life in the hive and all the different structures and the different roles that all the bees have, and our main character Flora works her way. Darcy, you can't have any of this, I'm afraid. Can't have any sugar, can't have any butter, can't have any honey. Cannot help you. She gets to experience all these different roles, and you just feel all the way through like we're building to some big thing, and then when it happens, it's alright, and it's probably the only way that the author could have ended the book, but it's just a bit like, oh, okay, is that it? And I mean, if you're interested in the hierarchy of beehives and the way that the bees operate, like, it's interesting from that point of view, and that's certainly something that I had never come across before. But yeah, I just am a bit like, is that it? Okay, Darcy, you cannot have, I'm really sorry. And now Pepper thinks that Darcy's getting something, so she's gonna come and join in. The joys of 3 dogs when you're baking. That I did enjoy the bees for what it was, but I couldn't really quantify why. I just thought it was quite a unique read and not really something that I could compare to anything else that I've read in the past. Yeah, now I'm gonna pick up the last book in this video. I'm gonna finish my biscuit mixture. Check in with you in a bit. Now it's all gone south. So that is the dough. It looks rather underwhelming, doesn't it? That's gonna go and sit in the fridge for half an hour, and then I'll be able to roll it out, cut it out and bake it. Gonna be honest, not 100% sure about these. They've come out of the oven and they're still very, very soft. I did make some stars because this was such a big cookie cutter. I had quite a lot of dough left over, but I couldn't get any more beehives, so I made some stars which are a little bit overcooked, but they've hardened up straight away. So perhaps with a little bit, oh, just squash that one. Perhaps with a little bit of time, they'll be okay. Verdict on the biscuits. The consistency was okay, but they were far too sweet. I don't know if I got the balance of honey and sugar not quite right, or if it was the added floral element to the honey, but it just, I couldn't eat a whole one. So the issue was not actually the consistency or the softness of them, it was the taste. I mean, the kids loved them, the kids ate them all, but it just didn't work for me. Having said that though, I did use the honey then later in a honey and orange chicken recipe, which I will show you here, and that worked perfectly. So, but I did use less of it, so I think maybe the honey, I used less than the recipe called for, so I do think that maybe it was the honey that was the problem in the biscuits. I don't know, as I say, the kids ate them. I'm now just over 70 pages into Secret Life of Bees, turning out to be a really quick read. We have met our main character Lily, who is a young teen girl, and she has grown up believing her whole life that she's responsible for her mother's death, and her father is not a good guy. He is violent and abusive towards Lily, and we're sort of getting the impression that he was violent and abusive towards Lily's mother as well. And Lily has essentially been raised by a black servant who worked on the peach farm her father owned, called Rosaline, and Lily and Rosaline have got themselves into some trouble when Lily accompanied Rosaline to go and register to vote. So we're in the 60s here. Rosaline spat on the feet of some white men and they found themselves hauled off to prison, and Lily has basically rescued the little bit of white saviour complex going on, rescued Rosalind, and they have now run away. And that's as far as we've got. Earlier on in the book, Lily found a photo of her mother alongside a Black Mary picture or label that had a place name on it, and they're basically heading towards that place. And Lily thinks that she's going to find the history of her mother and who her mother was. So far so good. A really quick read, not too in-depth. Like, I'm 70 pages in and quite a lot has happened already, so we're not really going into any deep exploration of anything. They're just now setting off. I guess the main bulk of the story is going to be once they arrive at this place and Lily finds out more about herself and her mother, etc, etc. As I say, there's a little hint of white saviour complex going on in here, which has been marginally addressed, but I'm wondering how much the author is going to look at that and address that. Yeah, it's not going into too much detail. I will say that I feel like the character of Lily has been captured really well. I just think her voice is very accurate for that of a teen girl. She's a little bit overly emotional, she's a little bit irrational, although she is in quite a bad situation, so she's not exaggerating in any way about the situation. Just her internal thoughts and the way that she processes things as the mother of a teenage girl, I just think that the author has got that spot on. So yeah, as I say, it's not taking me too long at all to read, so I would hope to be done with this in the next day or so, all being well. I was gonna sit and film a reading update for you, but dogs, huh? Being a little bit jealous. Hello. 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 What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I was giving Loki some fuss, and now I'm having to give you some fuss. Oh, say hi, Daz. Say hi, Daz. I don't really want kisses. Thank you all the same. Thank you all the same. I think the thing which I was initially applauding this book for, which was its accurate depiction of a teenage girl, is now the thing that is winding me up the most about this book. So Lily and Rosalind have found their way to the place where Lily believes her mother has been. They have found these three sisters, these black women, successfully running their own business. They're now staying with them, and Lily believes that they have some connection to her mother, but she will not ask them for information. So we are getting all this angst, and we're getting all this inner monologuing and musings about her mother and how she just really wants information about her mother, and she feels it's a really defining thing for her that she didn't know who her mother was, and that maybe she was involved in the death of her mother, and all of that wrapped up. But these people literally have the answer, as she will not ask them about it. And it's not a complex read by any stretch. You know, we're getting to know these other people, we're getting to know these other characters. Lily's meeting people and developing as a person and learning about the wider world around her. All of that is fine. It's not complex, it's not difficult to read, the writing style is really accessible, but this lack of forward momentum in terms of this huge plot point, which is Lily and her mother and Lily's relationship with her mother, it's making it feel really slow and ploddy, and I'm just not engaging with it in the way that I thought that I would. And it's a little bit disappointing because I really thought that I would read it quite quickly and I thought that it would be quite interesting, but it's the angst it's the angst that is killing it for me, because you just want to say to her, just ask the question and get the answers and then move on from there. I don't know how closely people pay attention to things in vlogs like the length of hair or the colour of nails or stuff like that, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you and tell you that it has now been several months since I started filming this vlog. This book put me in an absolute reading slump. It took me the longest time to get through, to the point where I put it down and I read other stuff, which very rarely happens for me, and then the thought of having to go back in and read it, and honestly I don't know why. I don't know if it was a case of this, which I didn't really love plus then going straight into this, which just killed my desire to read Dead as a Dormouse. Dead as a Dormouse? Is it Dead as a Doornail? Whatever it is, something didn't work for me about this combination, and it was such a shame because I think in another context, at another time, there was nothing majorly wrong with this book. It did begin to drag. I think I said in one of the last clips when I was talking about it that I was struggling with our main character Lily, and just her angst and her inability to move herself forwards and ask the questions that she wanted to ask and get the information that she wanted to get. And there were elements of this book that I did enjoy, but it just didn't work for me for various reasons. I felt like for some people this would be the ideal read. It kind of touches on a couple of heavier topics. There's a little bit of coming of age, Lily exploring who she is in the aftermath of what happened to her mother, who her mother was, all of that. The way that this is delivered and packaged will totally tick the box for some people, and that is totally fine. It will have its audience. I just wasn't it. I wanted so much more depth from the book. So if you're going to talk about the whole white saviour complex, let's explore that. If you're going to talk about interracial relationships, let's explore that. If you're going to talk about black women having their own business, living in their own house, being unmarried, being strong, kick-ass women in this period in time in America, let's unpack that. Everything just felt super surface level, and on top of that, we didn't really get any resolution. So at the very beginning of the book, as I said earlier on, we find out that Lily believes that she killed her mother, that her mother was packing to leave, her father came home, a gun was there, Lily picked up the gun and she shot her mother, and she deeply, deeply believes that that is what's happened. And it's suggested that maybe that isn't what has happened, but we never get any kind of resolution over what did happen. But all the time it feels like the author is building towards some big reveal about this particular moment, and Lily has flashbacks and she goes over it and we go back and forth over what happened and her memories, and it's all kind of building towards this feeling that Lily is going to unlock the secrets to what happened. And I'm going to be honest, spoiler or not, we never get there. So I just couldn't quite, even at the end when you think, okay, so Lily has found out what she wants to find out, she has asked her questions, you don't really get any kind of great moment or resolution. The coming of age element of it is just really quite flat. I don't know. As I say, maybe it was the wrong time for me to pick it up because I really didn't like this. If I was looking for this type of easy to get into story, I might have enjoyed it at another period in time, but it just did not do it for me. And ultimately I felt like it was lackluster. I found it really difficult. It's not complex to read, it's not difficult to get into, the writing style is fine. It just didn't gel with the story or the characters and what was trying to be delivered or conveyed. I just didn't enjoy it, and as a result I ground to a complete reading halt. And I feel like this vlog is ending on such a sour note. I've really enjoyed doing kind of all the bee related things and kind of having this intricate theme into this vlog. I've really enjoyed that, but I don't feel like any of the books that I picked necessarily blew me away. Also have to say that this book, I talked about this book in a wrap up and someone did point out that it's allegorical and not dystopian, and I'm fully aware that I referred to this as dystopian all the way through my discussions of it, so I apologise for that. Allegorical makes so much more sense and was probably the word that I was reaching for if I was slightly smarter than I actually am. But yeah, they are the three books I read. In order of what I liked and didn't like, this one was obviously my favourite. As bizarre a reading experience as it was, I enjoyed that it was different, I enjoyed that it was reaching for something, I enjoyed that it was tense and atmospheric, and alright, it had its flaws which I talked about, but yeah, I enjoyed this one. Did not enjoy this one at all. Don't really want to talk much more about it, and didn't really enjoy this one either. But it is 3 books. If we're going to take some positives, it's 3 books that have now been ticked off my TBR. There will be audiences for each of these books, and I think don't be put off if you've sat and heard me talk about them and think that they are things that you would want to read. Then I highly suggest that you go and make your own mind up. They just weren't, these two particularly, just weren't necessarily for me. But I have enjoyed my bee themed video, and I hope that you have enjoyed it as well, and I am sorry that it's taken me such a long time to get to the end and then sit down and wrap all of this up. But I am looking forward now, as I say, I really enjoyed the theme of it, so I am now looking forward to planning some of my 2023 videos. I cannot believe that I'm talking about 2023 reading plans, but I'm looking forward, given that I started filming this reading vlog in the summer, by the way, and now it's the end of November. I have no words to adequately describe that, but yeah, I'm looking forward to planning some more themed videos for next year, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more success with actually enjoying the vast majority of what I read. But if you stuck with the whole of this vlog, then thank you very much. As I say, please don't be necessarily put off by my dislike of these books. It's just one of those things, and I think I've spent so much time pulling this content together that I wouldn't want to not put it up just because I didn't necessarily enjoy the book. So it's going to go live anyway. But yes, if you've read any of them, let me know what you thought. As always, thank you very much for your support. Thank you for watching the videos, thank you for liking the videos, subscribing, all of that good stuff. I hope that you're all keeping safe and well. Take care, and I'll see you soon.